Hi, welcome to FedTrends. Turns out people like win stories. I got a lot of positive feedback on my win story about my first win, which was in mailroom at the Navy Yard. So this is win number 2. This is for Bio Contaminant Screening at Bowling Air Force Base. So I'd been making the rounds of small business reps, giving out bad capability statements, and one of them comes back to me. We have a mailroom program here we'd like to talk to you about. Or you want to give us a presentation? Yeah, I'd love to. I'd present about anything, sure. So I build a bad presentation, best I could do back then, very little graphics capabilities, whatever. I pull something together. I'm talking to him about mail. I apologize. I wasn't good at it, but it was a boring presentation. So I'm going through it. This lady on the panel, Charlotte, asked me a question. What experience do you have dealing with and looking for anthrax? There's context to that. Here's why she asked me. Somebody had been mailing anthrax to government offices. Now, who even knew anthrax was still a thing? Like, it sounded like the plague to me, but they were mailing it around. I had done something with it. So when they started mailing anthrax, I called down to my PM at the Navy Yard, NASCAR Bob. Hey, Bob, you and, my moose-loving customer, she was a really nice lady. She had all these stuffed moose, like stuffed animals in her office. She was super, super nice. What do we do about this, right? So Bob says, look, we got it under control. Like, all it is, the Pentagon irradiates the mail. You can irradiate mail. You can irradiate mail. And when you do that, it kills the anthrax in it. He said, so if it gets in the building, it's just dead anthrax, and it's not dangerous. But we just need, like, some gloves and some masks and stuff, and it's fine. All right, so that's what I'd done. So when they ask me the question, I tell them I coordinated a response with the Navy and my program team and gave them supplies and countermeasures consistent with the Pentagon guidance on how this should be handled, because the mail's being irradiated, and so they were able to deal with the looking for anthrax in the mail. Well, it turns out nobody else could answer that question, I guess. So they called me the next day and said, we would like to negotiate with you about this contract. So the negotiation, because it's just them and me, and they're doing this as kind of a directed procurement, they can just talk to me directly about it. So they tell me they're going to build a facility. Negative pressure, something HEPA filtered, all of this thing. They're building a building to put this in. And what they want is they want a scanning machine. Now, they drop a name on me, Smiths. I call up the Smiths company. I said, do you guys have some kind of genius over there that like specs these machines out? Who sold it to the Pentagon? I know they have one at the Pentagon. They put me on hold. I get the genius. So the genius guy tells me, oh yeah, you want a model 19 whatever with the scanner, and here's how it works, and it punches holes in the mail, and then it pulls air through them through a water column, and it checks for anthrax and ricin and all of these poisons. Oh, that sounds cool. All right. Says, you're going to want it calibrated, and you need this kind of training, and so on and so forth. All right. Okay, so cool. So I go like, look, well, I need one of these. Can I give you like a credit card number or something? Because they're $1 million. Oh, well, okay, so bill or something. Like, they put an order in for me. I'm going to need one once I get this contract, but I'm going to have to pay you once the government pays me for it, because I don't have $1 million. So I tell the government, hey, look, here's the specs on what I'll get. Is this cool? Yes, that's what we want. That sounds good. We need to see who your staff are going to be. Well, their budget wasn't very high, and so there's not a lot of money to hire people with. And have you ever called anybody and said, hey, would you like to look for anthrax with your hands in mail? You get hung up on a lot. So I've got recruiters and staffing agencies helping me to try to find these people. But for what I could pay and the job itself, it's not going very well. So I end up getting a resume for a guy named Kamal. I call him up. He doesn't hang up on me. What he says is, man, I just got out of the military and they gave us training on how to handle this stuff. Like, I don't care. Really? Well, it's on Bowling Air Force Base. Here's what he tells me. So my wife works on Bowling Air Force Base. I live on Bowling Air Force Base. I don't have a car. I have to work on Bowling Air Force Base. So you'd be willing to work for what I can pay? Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do this job. Well, that's great. So, and the thing is, if you know anybody else, I need like 4 more of these people. My squad all got out of the military at the same time. I was their squad leader. We've been sitting around the house going crazy. All we can do is play Xbox and like basketball and stuff because we don't have cars and we can't get off base to work. So we've been going nuts sitting at home. Really? Do they all want jobs? Because absolutely they all want jobs. I'll get you the best 4 or 5. What? Cool. I said, well, you were their squad leader in the military. Can you be their team lead now? Yeah, I'll manage these guys. No problem, man. And I'll pay you a little bit more. We'll do that. I need their resumes, right? Because they're also cleared. Like, I got to prove that to the government and everything. They send me their resumes. I give them to the government. The government says, all right, you're going to get this machine. You got these guys. Cool. Here's your contract. $2.5 million, 5 years. They send it to me. Now, that all went pretty easy. I will tell you, there's a really good winner's problem attached to this contract. Part 2, stay tuned for what exactly can go wrong when your job is to look for anthrax with your hands. I hope you enjoyed this win story. Thanks so much. See you next time.